Hey y'all, it's Pink Shirt Princess, and we're gonna review Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 6, Episode 3, titled Hasta LaTisha, Baby. So we continue with Tisha and Kiki at the boxing gym, and they continue to talk, and Kiki says that she didn't like how Tisha pulled away from her, and Kiki says that Tisha took her best friend away from her, and Tisha's kind of like, what you mean? What friend did I take? And Kiki's basically like, you pulled away from me. Tisha then begins to explain the issue that caused her and Kiki to stop talking that happened like 10 years ago, because they've been talking about this incident for the past like 2 seasons, I think, from whenever Kiki showed up on the show. But we finally get to hear what it was that happened that caused their relationship to like fracture. And apparently Kiki told Tisha, F you and that baby, while Tisha was pregnant. And Tisha's like, you were stealing my pain pills, and I had just had the baby and all this stuff. And that's why they're not cool, because Tisha felt like she couldn't trust her. Tisha said that she was healing from a C-section, and Kiki was stealing from her and being real mean to her. So she kind of just felt like, all right, well, I don't want this person in my space. And then in the confessional, Kiki is like, she feels bad that she made Tisha feel this way, and prayerfully it won't happen again. And then Kiki says that, they won't have to have this conversation ever again. And then Tisha invites Kiki out to a girls' night, and Kiki's all excited. She's like, I'm with it. It's whatever, And then Tisha says in the confessional that she's hopeful that things will get better in the future. Now, I will say this. I feel like as long as Kiki stay her ass away from Mel, we're not going to have no problems. Because everybody already knows Tisha and Mel, they don't really, they're not cool like that. They be bumping heads. And again, what Kiki did was kind of shady. Everybody got that one cousin that they feel like they can't really trust like that. So I understand why Tisha is keeping Kiki at arm's length. But at the same time, Kiki has to tread lightly and give Tisha the space to want to actually like nurture that relationship again. And in my opinion, Tisha has grown up so much from the first season to this season now, because usually she kind of just would have been like, all right, Kiki, well, I'll just hit you up later. But right then and there, in that instant, she invited Kiki out to an outing. So I just feel like, Tisha is growing up some. So the scene basically ends as they're walking out of the gym and talking, hugging and stuff. Now, in my opinion, they could have saved that, because there wasn't really no reason to have a whole to be continued at the end of the last episode. And also, we never got to see what they teased in regards of Tisha talking about what if I, mentioned what's going on with your husband to Kiki, because they advertised that in last week's episode for the preview of this week's. So I want to know what's going on with that. So the next scene opens up with Marceau at the Black Cigar Lounge waiting for his dad. And before we get into this, I want to know where the hell Papa Scott been for the last 6 seasons, because I thought he was going to spew all this bullshit out his mouth that his sons do. And this man was the complete opposite, y'all. So Marceau's dad comes in and, they joke and stuff. They pick out cigars, they get something to drink, and then they go have a seat. And then Marceau's dad tells him that he's proud of him. And for the first time ever, Marceau had a genuine thank you, a genuine like, wow, I appreciate that, in his voice and on his face. And obviously his dad is the only person that he don't even listen to his dad. Maybe his dad is the only person that he actually respects, in my opinion. But what Papa Scott had to say next is what hit the nail on the head. He says he's proud of Marceau, but he's a busy man, and he's too busy, and I quote, making a living when he wants him to make a life, end quote. And then Papa Scott says he wants Marceau to enjoy his family, because all this time he's spending working and stuff, he gonna miss his kids growing up. He gonna miss his wife, growing up, literally, because it's not like they stay stagnant. Everybody changes. They all grow together. And then Marceau's dad says he didn't even go on a cruise until he was 50 years old. And Marceau's dad explains to Marceau that he doesn't want him to miss out on his life, and he doesn't want his kids to make the same mistake he did with them and the same mistake his dad did with him. And Marceau's dad begins to explain that on the holidays he worked at General Motors because they paid more, and he doesn't want Marceau to just always think about money, money, money. So basically what Papa Scott was saying, that he don't want Marceau to work for so much money that he misses out on his life. And Marceau says, well, don't be too hard on yourself. And his dad says, nah, I'm just being realistic. And I feel like Papa Scott is the only person that Marceau, cannot try and mix his little words in and try and manipulate. That is his seed. He know where all that shit come from. Papa Scott says, when do you stop to enjoy what you've worked so hard for and take a break? And Marceau basically did not hear a damn thing his dad said. He was pretty much just like, I gotta figure this out, but, I'm basically not gonna take any of your advice. Marceau's dad says, even God took a break on Sunday, but my son, the great, is going to work more than God does. And Marceau's basically like, yeah, Dad, I get the point. And their scene basically ends, and then Marceau's in the confessional saying, he appreciates his dad and all that stuff, but he's not gonna listen to him. He gonna do whatever the fuck he want, per usual. I want to see more Papa Scott on the show, but I also want to see him speak with Marceau about how he treats Tisha, because this is our first time seeing him, and maybe they talk or whatever, but he doesn't know how Marceau treats his wife on live television. So he gotta come fix this. The next scene is with Tisha and Kimmy meeting up at a little coffee shop, and Kimmy's walking in and she's like, why you got me meeting in this quiet little place in South Huntsville and stuff. And Tisha begins to explain that Marceau allowed his business partner to take over Tisha's office and desk, basically. And y'all already know that's some bullshit, because if she owned that damn company and has made it everything it is right now, why does he feel like that's okay? I don't know how he graduated college. I don't know how he even talked Tisha into going on a date with him, because this man is a damn fool, especially because of how his logic went as to why he felt like it was okay for this man to come in here putting up his degrees and shit on Tisha's wall when he told Tisha she couldn't even do that. Tisha says Marceau didn't tell her until the last minute, and Kimmy basically says that, you got to find the right time to bring up this conversation to Marceau, because these Scott men, they just don't get it. And then they kind of, start saying, well, you gotta, after a session, maybe you can get what you want. And I ain't even gonna lie to you, Tisha didn't even look excited about that. So I thought that was funny. And, I just feel like at this point, Marceau is a business partner with Tisha, but he's not a good one. Like, she's just there with him so they can stack up this money for real. And she just gonna dip off and do what she wants. She better pull a Melody Holt, and I don't even like Melody like that, but she got Martell out here looking like a damn fool, and I hope Tisha does the same thing, because Marceau got her out here looking so dumb and so like she don't know what's going on. And she is not that. Tisha is not dumb. She is intelligent, but this man talks down to her like she don't know nothing that she talking about. I don't know how she's dealt with 17 years of marriage with this. I really don't, because even MJ said, or their son, even MJ said the same shit. So next, Kimmy gets a phone call, and it's from Melody. And I'm not gonna even lie to you, this kind of annoyed me, Because why? First of all, why would she answer the phone? And secondly, why would she keep it on speaker? Now, I'm pretty sure the producers was just like, keep it going or whatever. But y'all already know that shit messy. And luckily, it didn't end the way that we thought it would. It ended on a positive note, but still, they gotta tread lightly. So basically, Melody just asked Kimmy if she wants to go get massages or something. And Kimmy's like, yeah, that would be cool, but not right now because she's out with Tisha. And then Tisha asked to speak to Mel because they on the she on the speaker at this point. She can hear everything Melody's saying, so might as well talk to the girl. And Tisha just invites Melody out to the little girls' night, massage and stuff. And Mel says yes, surprisingly. And the reason why I said they gotta tread lightly, because Melody be like, I don't want to talk to this lady. She could have said something real out of pocket. But she didn't, probably because she knew that the cameras was around. This stuff is scripted, even though they want to say it's not, and things like that. So the producers was probably like, sent Mel a text and was like, go ahead and call Kimmy real quick because we filming, and just ask her if she want to go out or something. But in the confessional, while Tisha and Mel were on the phone, Kimmy was just kind of like, Tisha, don't play with me now. Like, basically, don't start nothing, because you could tell Kimmy's face. She was just kind of like, why does this girl want to talk to Mel? What's she about to say? And then Kimmy was just like, she was surprised that the conversation went cool with Mel and Tisha. It was weird that they talked, but it was a surprise. And basically, after that whole phone call, Kimmy's like, I hope, you keep inviting me to stuff, because I don't want y'all to keep doing stuff without me, because Kimmy's starting to feel better, the best that she's felt in the last few months, when they were recording this. And that's wonderful to hear that she's feeling better. She looks like she's feeling better. But, Kimmy liked to party, so she's like, don't stop inviting me, to stuff. I want to hang out and basically just chill. So that was the end of their scene. So the next scene is with Tisha and Marceau, and it starts off with Marceau playing chess with the kids, and he's talking about, he took some of his dad's advice, and, he's a lucky man because he gets to stay home and, like, hang out with his family and shit. Like, haven't people been telling you this for the past 6 seasons? And it's looking like in Marceau's contract, he tells them to have one scene of him with him and his family every season at this point, because I don't really see this man with his kids any other time. So this is when Marceau starts getting really messy, and then this is the part that makes me have a love-hate relationship with him, because he know how to get the views and get drama started because he's slick with his mouth, but at the same time, when he being petty, it just be at the wrong times. So if there's ever a House Husbands of Huntsville, his ass need to have the first peach, apple, diamond, I don't know what the fuck, he need to have it. So they're eating, and Marceau's like, he asked the kids if they miss their mom cooking, and they kind of all just look around at him like, what you mean? And then Marceau says, because she's too busy these days working and stuff, so she can't really cook for y'all and stuff. And MJ, my man, he was having none of that shit. None of the kids were. I don't know if it was Macy or Mila. I get them too confused. I'm not sure. But one of them was like, well, what about you, Dad? And then MJ was like, he wouldn't let his spouse talk to him like that, especially after 17 long years. And Tisha was like, facts. And Marceau was kind of looking at all the kids like, why y'all coming for me like that? You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad that, them kids stuck up for Tisha against Marceau, because they probably hear him talking like this to her all damn day long. And I know they be sick of that shit. So the kids are excused, and Tisha's like, why do you do that? And Marceau's like, the kids and I was just playing or whatever. And Tisha gets into the conversation about, because she and Marceau are a partnership, when it comes to their business, they should have conversations about anything in regards to their business. And Marceau says he disagrees because Tisha's the owner and he's the president, and basically owners don't really make decisions or are a part of a lot of decision making because they're the owners, and they basically just, sit back and let the president run everything. Tisha needs to knock his bald head ass down a few pegs, because he just really think that he knows every fucking thing. And he basically says that Tisha doesn't have the experience to make the decisions, because he's saying that, this new guy that he didn't tell his wife was going to be coming in and taking over her desk has certain experience that Marceau doesn't. So Marceau's not going to tell this man how to do his job, basically. And he's basically telling Tisha that even though she is the owner, that she can't be a part of decision making, and she can't tell nobody else what to do, basically. He basically thinks it's okay to communicate with everybody else about Scope except for his wife. And if it weren't for Tisha, they wouldn't even have that business no more, because Martell was basically making it seem like that business was going under, and that he sold his shares or whatever to Tisha just so they can, build the company back up, because it was just so in free fall, right? And then after all of that, Tisha mentions The Office. And Tisha says that Marceau says he told Tisha about this man coming into the business or whatever. But Tisha says that she doesn't remember hearing that. And Marceau probably did one of these things where he mumbled that shit and she was just like, okay, or something like that. Like, he probably really didn't even tell her. And I feel like if that was something he communicated with, she would have definitely been like, okay, well, where am I gonna go, or where is he gonna go? Because walking into her place of business, seeing somebody sitting at her desk and in her office with his degree and shit up, I would have been pissed. I would have been throwing everything, because what? Nobody told me this, and I'm the one signing your checks. I'm the one that makes sure you even got a damn job. So what is going on here? And Marceau is basically saying that he's too busy to communicate with his wife, who he's been married to for 17 years and shares 3 children with, and have all these businesses and properties and stuff with. Oh, okay. And in the confessional, Tisha says that she can't build new businesses with Marceau trying to sabotage her. And I agree, because she glowing up, and it's like he's trying to catch up to where she at, and she light years ahead of him. In my opinion, Tisha's not really here for Marceau's slick words and stuff. Like, she's not gonna just take him dismissing her feelings and her concerns. And she says that she wants Marceau to hear and acknowledge her feelings. And Marceau says he understands logic. So he's basically saying he doesn't understand feelings. Okay. It's clear Marceau doesn't understand feelings or emotions. So basically he says that desk isn't making any money, and no one sitting at that desk is making any money. But I'm just thinking, so you bringing in this new guy to replace your wife, even though he not making no money right now? That's not making no sense to me. But yeah, that's what it is. That's how they ended the scene, pretty much. So now we get into the entree of the episode, because this right here was a hot ass mess. And Tiffany, I'm talking to you. So Tisha's showing up to the little spa place where they're at, and she's talking about how she can't wait till the ladies come and they have fun and enjoy themselves. And she talks about how she hopes it's peaceful and everything goes fine and they just relax, because their outings tend to get a bit extra. And then they show flashbacks of the girls hanging out, galentines and all that stuff, and they happen to get a little lit. So she's just hoping everything is kind of chill. And Kimmy shows up first, then Stormy. And in the confessional, Stormy says she wonder if Mel will show up. And that makes me wonder, alright, so y'all still both ain't talked yet? You know, I don't know. Stormy says she not bothered, but it's giving bothered to me now. So, yeah, we're gonna see where that goes. So, Tisha says she's nervous about Tiffany because when inviting Tiffany to the outing and then, they show footage of them talking, she found out that Tiffany doesn't like Kiki. And the reason that she gave, I guess it would make sense, but I don't want to give her nothing because she get on my nerves. I just feel like she always in somebody's business and she always talking out of turn, and later on she says like, it's none of my business. So I'm trying to figure out why the fuck she keep talking about it. Why she bringing it up? Talk to Big Lou about this shit. At this point, it's Tisha, Kimmy, Stormy, and Tiffany there. And then Kiki shows up and Stormy says that they look alike, and Kiki's like, that Tisha should take it as a compliment. And Tiffany repeats what Kiki just said in a nasty way. She's like, she just said that you should take it as a compliment to look like her. And like as if everybody didn't just hear this shit. And I'm just like, you just picking at this point. You just don't like Kiki, and it don't matter what she say, you just gonna be like, well, she just rubs me the wrong way. Girl, bye. In my opinion, Kiki is just hyping herself up, and there's nothing wrong with that. She and Tisha are beautiful women. And it just feel like Tiffany is jealous because she don't have no close relationship with no family. And that might sound petty because she's adopted and stuff, but it's just like she's always inserting herself in stuff that she don't have no business in. And she literally says that she don't have no business in it. And yet she do it anyway. I get it, it's for views and all that stuff, but that shit starts to get annoying because y'all get views anyway. She don't have to be nosy in a family squabble that ain't got shit to do with her. Granted, she was somewhat inserted in it only because, Mel did all that sneaky shit, bringing Kiki to the party, and nobody knows she was going to be there and all this stuff, and then they got into a conversation. And, of course, Mel be sitting there, don't have nothing to say when she the one who started the pot and started all this shit, but she got her little minions, Tiffany and Stormy wanting to come in and save the fucking day and stuff. So I just feel like Tiffany just be bored and she just don't have nothing else to do and she just want to talk about every fucking body. So the ladies are taking turns trying on their robes and stuff so they can get ready for their spas and everything. And Kimmy comes back and asks, what's going on? What's everybody talking about? After she complained about her robe being too big. And Tisha just says that Kiki got a smart ass mouth. And Kiki's like, what you talking about? All of this, all that. And Tiffany cannot keep her mouth shut. And in my opinion, her being pregnant is only saving her from getting her ass beat, and that's why she feel like she can run her mouth so much, because after she got caught the fuck up in the first season that she and Big Lou was on here, and everybody was calling for her to get kicked off the show because they didn't like her running her mouth so much, talking about Monster and shit. They could have really whooped her ass then, but she stopped being super, super messy, especially last season. And now, all of a sudden, she's starting that shit back up again because she knows somebody can't lay their hands on her. Tiffany better tread the fuck lightly. That is all I'm saying. But she says that, can this sock on her hand that she puts on her hand be used as a puppet? And I don't know if y'all noticed, they show it real quick. Stormy grabs a sock and she makes it into a puppet hand real quick, and I thought that was funny because they showed that real quick and then they turned the camera, and I'm just like, I caught that shade. Did y'all catch that shade? Okay. Tisha rolls her eyes at Tiffany's shade, and then she says she'll mail Tiffany her puppet, and Tiffany's like, oh, for the lady? And Tisha's like, no, It's going to look just like her. It's going to look like Tiffany. And Tiffany's like, well, puppets are for kids. You could act like a kid, you get a puppet. And Tisha was just like, Tiffany, you about to get kicked out of here. And I really, really wish she would have, because it would have saved issues that happened later on. But, you know, it would have been messy, and then Big Lou would have felt some type of way, wanting to fight every fucking body because his wife don't know how to keep her fucking mouth shut. Ugh. Don't y'all give me that BS on Tiffany's pregnant and you can't fight a pregnant lady and all this stuff. Maybe if she stopped running her mouth so much, maybe somebody wouldn't want to feel like she needs some hands laid on her for her to just stop what she doing. But at this point, she feels like it's safe to just say whatever the fuck she want, and it's not. But then it's like, you know, everybody want to be like, oh, Miss Wanda need to be off the show. I want Mama Wanda back, because at this point, she's the only one who going to put everybody in their place. I need to see Stormy's mom. I need all these parents to have their own spinoff show, because they're also bringing the drama too. But you know, besides that point, this is about Tiffany. Don't come in here trying to make me feel bad because I don't like how she runs her mouth even though she's pregnant. Being pregnant don't stop you from being a bitch, in my opinion. So in the confessional, Kimmy says Tiffany be on that bullshit and she be starting stuff with any and everybody, and says that she's glad that Mel wasn't there because she don't think that Mel would have laughed that whole puppet thing off. And I would agree, you know, Mel don't like shit, so, you know, it don't matter who would have did what, she would have found a problem with it. But especially coming from her little minion Tiffany, she would have been livid, like, girl, you supposed to be on my side. And apparently her whole agenda coming to this little get together was to let everybody know that she don't fucking like Kiki. And even Mel wasn't trying to hear that shit this episode. This is the one time Mel ain't get on my fucking nerves. But it was all Tiffany. God. Mel comes in and Tisha say their hellos or whatever, and they seem cool. And I feel like Tisha is over the point of trying to make Mel her friend or make Mel stop being a mean girl. She's just going to handle Mel the way she should. And this is, you know, the first step. And I'm just glad that Mel actually was like, yeah, I'll come. You know, of course, it's probably just for the views on the show or whatever. But at the same time, Mel didn't really come there to be messy or mean for once in her life. So I'm like, okay, maybe, you know, they're learning. And then the ladies separate to their massages after everyone has on their robes. And Tisha says that she was supposed to be relaxing and wanted to have a good time, but she felt like Tiffany was being real shady. And Kimmy was like, she probably was. She's, you know, good for a shady comment or two. And everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. And they had a problem with her from the jump, feeling like, oh, well, she too nosy, she too this, she too that. She brought up monster shit at Destiny's little brunch. She brought up LeBaric stuff at Destiny's brunch. And, you know, she just saying shit at the wrong time, knowing that it's the wrong time. I don't know where the fuck Carlos found her from, but take her ass to the housewives. That's where she need to be messy at, because this right here is pissing me off. So they go to Stormy, Melody, and Tiffany in the little sauna room or whatever, the sound bowl room. And Tiffany says that she's glad that Mel came, you know, because Kiki came. And she didn't really get a chance to talk to Kiki. She didn't know Kiki like that. But she knows that she's Mel's friend. Here we go with the fuckery. And Tiffany says that, you know, she likes being around good people. Good people that's not Kiki, basically. And Mel says that, you know, Kiki isn't a bad person. And she asks if Tiffany means because of what happened at the Christmas party. And then I think they show a flashback. They show a clip of Kiki talking about having a conversation with Tisha about Marcel and his infidelity and stuff. And Tiffany says that she doesn't like people who do that to family, because they would turn right around and do that to her. First of all, Kiki don't care enough about Tiffany to do no shit like that to her. That's where I'm trying to come from. I'm trying to figure out where is all of this coming from. Where is this concern for Tisha coming from when she was being shady to Tisha when they first came in, talking about some fucking puppets? Where's all of this, irateness for Tisha crying and shit, real tears? Like she keeps saying, like, where is all of this concern coming from? She just don't like Kiki. And I could say it's because I feel like Kiki cuter than Tiffany, and maybe that's why Tiffany mad. I could say whatever the fuck I want since she do too, but it's just because she nosy, and it's something underlining, something else there. Maybe she had a dark-skinned girl bully when she was younger or something, and then she just want to start some shit. But guess what? Kiki not the one. In my opinion, from what I've seen, Kiki is not the one. So when Mel is not a part of the fuck shit, she's always making faces and stuff because she's trying to figure out where's all of this stuff coming from that Tiffany talking about, why she don't like Kiki and all of this. And Tiffany says to Mel, like, you like positive people around you. And so to Mel, Kiki is positive, and she's saying that it's okay to basically be around her and stuff. And Mel deflects like shit, and she's just like, she wants to enjoy the peace of the room and looking around and all this stuff. And Tiffany keeps going on about not liking what Kiki did and not liking her. And I had to replay this part back because Tiffany whispered, so we couldn't hear what she said, basically. And she said, mainly because you brought us all in onto the show. So she's telling Melody, mainly because Melody brought all of them onto the show, she figured that Mel knows how Kiki is. And thank you very much. Mel brought Kiki onto the show. Not that Tisha did. Mel did. So that she can get Kiki on the show to talk shit about Tisha, because regardless of what it is, she's jealous of Tisha for something. Even if she want to say she's not, she's jealous of Tisha about something. Maybe because she was strong enough to stay with this cheating ass man and still make this money and have a marriage. Maybe that's what Mel is jealous about, because she didn't try to break up their marriage from season 1. But again, Tiffany, that was a little shade to Melody, because she's like, since you brought all of us on. Yeah, I caught that slick shit. Tiffany just keeps saying, it just worried her that Kiki was disrespectful and all this. And again, where's all this concern coming from? But when Mel wasn't directly answering Tiffany's question, Tiffany's like, oh, is this deflection? Is this deflection? But yeah, it's deflection, girl. She's not trying to get caught up in your messy shit. She did not have the script for this scene. You caught her off guard, Tiffany. Because Tiffany can tell that Mel is not about to give her a straight answer or give her an answer at all, Tiffany's like, it's none of my business, and my thing is bingo. So how about you just hush before you get yourself into some more shit? And then Stormy is just awkwardly by watching this, and in the confessional she says that Tiffany is trying to have a conversation with Mel, and Mel is just being weird and is just not trying to answer the question, and all she had to say was she didn't want to talk about it. And then she mocks Mel a little when Mel is just like, yeah, I'm just trying to enjoy the room and all of this. Stormy is still pissed, even if she's saying she's not bothered about Mel not talking to her. She is bothered, and I would be as well, because she feels used. She realized that Mel used her ass, and now her feelings are hurt. Like, she's done with everybody. She brought them on the show so she could use them for some shit and left it at that. She brought Tiffany on the show so she can be a mouthpiece to Mel and left it at that. She brought Kiki on the show so Kiki can spill all of Tisha's shit. She brought Stormy on the show so she could basically get Stormy to help her boost up Mel's little face, beauty care line or whatever, and left it at that. Martell told their asses, do not be friends with Melody Holt, Melody Cherie, whatever the fuck she want to call herself, because when she's done using you, you're no longer useful to her, and you are going to feel that shit. She does this every season. So we go into the next room with Tisha, Kimmy, and Kiki. And Kimmy, says, I hear Tisha and Kiki are cool again. And Kiki's like, yeah, they're just trying to start fresh. And Tisha says, all they can do is try, really. And Kimmy says that she doesn't understand why some adults can't agree to disagree. And then Kiki gets into the whole, she knows that she and Kimmy aren't as close as Kimmy and Tisha are. And that they basically don't really care for one another. And when Kiki said that shit, bro, I seen Kimmy's face. She just looked like, okay, and what you mean by that? Kind of like, let's see what else she about to say. Because Kimmy doesn't really react with her face like that. I mean, only when it comes to Maurice, dumbass. But when it comes to these women, she don't really react with her face. She kind of just waits to see what come out their mouth, and then she responds accordingly. Now, I'll say this about Kiki. She don't know how to read a room, and she doesn't know how to take accountability either. And that's just something that I have seen and learned, and, nobody else on the show know how to do that shit, so welcome to the cast. But Kiki begins to explain to Kimmy that she felt offended that Kimmy told Tisha all the stuff, and she feels like Kimmy kind of instigated it. And Kiki basically thinks that everybody blew what she said at that Christmas party out of proportion, which is not the truth at all. And Kimmy asks Kiki if she feels like being at that party and running her mouth, did that not instigate everything that happened? And Tisha asked Kiki, because she could just tell some shit about to get started, because I saw Tisha roll her face. Tisha asked Kiki why she's bringing it up, and she says because she never had the convo with Kimmy at all. And Kimmy says that it's not like she was the only one who said or felt like that Kiki had a lot to say. And then Tisha says that Kimmy just told Tisha that, Kiki was basically running her mouth a lot. And Kiki says that she feels like everybody exaggerated the situation. And Kimmy says that if the whole group of people said that Kiki talked too much and ran her mouth too much at a party that nobody even know that she was going to be at about her cousin, then does that mean that everybody is wrong? And Kiki just straight up says yes. And that is the part that I'm talking about where she doesn't take accountability. She says she feels like everyone exaggerated the things that she said, but that's not an exaggeration. I'd be mad as hell if my cousin felt like it's okay to go to a party to talk about me to my op, and I didn't even know she was invited. I didn't even know her and my op was cool. No, I would be livid. So Kiki was wrong for that, and everybody told her. And Kiki feels like everybody blew it up only because she and Tisha weren't in a good place, and Tisha's just like, that wasn't the place or time. And I'm trying to understand Kiki's logic. Is she saying that everybody blew what she said about Tisha out of proportion because she and Tisha weren't in a good place? Or did she run her mouth to Mel because she and Tisha weren't in a good place? But Kiki agrees that, it wasn't the time or place. And Kiki says that it got back what she said, but not what Stormy said, because she feels like Stormy brought it up at the party. And then they show a flashback of Stormy talking about the post that Marcel made. I ain't even gonna lie to you, I don't remember exactly what post it was, because he's always being shady as shit. But I think it was something in regards to try and make Maurice look bad or something like that. Because then, shit started with Maurice and Kimmy. But Stormy basically says in the flashback that she feels like that post was made intentionally to get the attention off of Marceau and onto Maurice. In my opinion, Kimmy was kind of trying to cover her tracks a little bit, but she asked Tisha, didn't she tell Tisha what Kiki said and also what Stormy said, so Kiki doesn't think that, Kimmy was just running her mouth and snitching to Tisha. And Kiki says that she don't really remember, but she's sure that Kimmy probably did, but she just mostly remembered what Kiki said because neither Kimmy nor Tisha knew who the fuck Stormy was. And Kimmy's basically saying for her not to know who Stormy was, Stormy sure did have a lot to say. about what was going on with Marceau and Tisha. And that is also Melody's fault because she put all that shit in Stormy's ear. And she's like, all right, y'all, I'm going to tell you this tea. Bring it up at the party so it can seem like I'm not talking about her or I'm not bringing it up. But I just want y'all to have a conversation about it. And then because you can hear Kimmy and them talking about the situation in regards to Stormy, you know, Stormy and them get up out of the room and they get ready to go see what's going on. And, you know, Mel's like, you know, let's go see what's going on. You know how she always ready for the bullshit. And Stormy in the confessional says that, you know, don't talk about her behind her back, especially if she is so close that she can hear you. So the ladies walk into the other room with Kimmy and them. And Stormy's like, you know, I want to hear all about Stormy. And Kiki says that they're talking about what happened at Mel's party. And she's glad that all parties that were involved are there. Because, you know, Kiki wanted to relax. And then she kind of gets up and like a little defensive position where like she sits up from her seat because she ready to get into it. And here go Kimmy, nah, we still gonna relax, and Tisha's like, yeah, we still gonna relax, so you know, don't think that, you know, gonna start no shit right now. And Kiki says that it was blown up and addresses Tiffany about not liking her. And this is where the fuck shit start. And I couldn't wait because, again, I feel like whatever underlying issue Tiffany has with Kiki don't got nothing to do with Kiki running her mouth. It's something else, and I'm glad Kiki addressing it now instead of letting it boil over and talk about it for episodes before they have a conversation, you know, a sit down, you know how they like to do. And Kiki basically says, you know, she heard that Tiffany didn't like what Kiki had to say about Tisha. And Tiffany says that as much as Kiki talked about being Mel's friend, she should have been as 10 toes down on being Tisha's cousin and putting family first. And Kiki says that she doesn't feel like Tiffany is in the place to say something like that because she don't know what she's talking about. And I agree, because Tiffany should have kept her fucking mouth shut. And then Tiffany kind of smirks and she's like, well, I always know what I'm talking about. And, you know, Kiki kind of getting lit. She's like, no, because she don't feel like it's fair for Tiffany to make that assumption when she don't know their family. She can see whatever the fuck she see on TV, but she don't know their family. And here goes Stormy. She pregnant. I don't give a fuck. Nuck if you buck, bitch, because you had all this shit to say before. Stand on it now. I don't care. Fuck. I don't care if you're pregnant. I don't care. Don't use that shit as an excuse. Don't make it seem like, you know, Kiki was even actually really gonna lay her hands on nobody. She just getting lit. She's passionate about this. And a lot of the times, these light-skinned bitches, these yellow-bone bitches, like to excuse and make it seem like dark-skinned girls' passion comes off as aggression. And I don't like that shit. And Kiki's just kind of like, you know, she's annoyed because Tiffany wasn't there, you know, or whatever. She wasn't even in the room or some shit. And Tiffany's like, I wasn't, you know, it just rubbed me the wrong way that you would talk about her in any capacity because she's family. And Tiffany basically just feels like Kiki should have put family first and all of this stuff. And then, you know, Kiki and Tiffany start talking over each other. And then Tiffany's like, you know, maybe I just don't know because I didn't grow up with a big family and have cousins and stuff. And Kiki was just like, yeah, because, you know, you just don't understand. Tiffany don't get it. Cousins beef like siblings. And I get it, you know, Tiffany was adopted and all this shit. But if you don't know where these people are coming from, do not speak on that shit. Melody ass barely know where the fuck that shit was coming from because she ain't even really grow up with her brother or her siblings. She ain't even meet Marcus until she turned 16. So none of them bitches know what the fuck they talking about. And again, Kiki's just like, well, maybe you just don't get it. And here go Tiffany. Abso-fucking-lutely not. And then everybody just sit back and make faces and shit. And then it does the whole to be continued. I already told you, if you like Tiffany's ass, you probably shouldn't have even watched to the whole thing because I don't like that lady. I don't like her for nothing. And also, where the fuck is Destiny? And also, why do y'all keep ending these episodes with to be continued? Because how much you want to bet that next week when they continue the scene, it ain't gonna be about no shit. It's not gonna get blown up. It ain't gonna be no drama. They just gonna be like, pipe the fuck down and leave it at that. Like, whatever. But it wasn't really a bad episode, probably because, you know, Mel was barely in it. But yeah, y'all, that's the review, and I'll see you on the next one.